Greetings, it's Michaela. So I want to talk about holiday drinking done better. And so this is definitely kind of a mental series, kind of in line with our looking pie in the eye from the other week, to kind of step us away from all or nothing thinking. So I am a loophole queen, meaning that the reason why I know half of the shit that I do is because of all the bad behavior that I have exhibited. And so my whole goal has been, like, emotional eating was my start, with understanding more about fat burning, and trying every diet under the sun. But basically it's like, how do we like get away with stuff and not look like it? So this is along those lines, okay? So holiday drinking done better. So just to like make us aware, alcohol is not good. Alcohol is poison. Alcohol is terrible, really, for our waistline and our health. It negatively impacts every system of the body, and it impacts our brain in a major way. And I'll just say that, so I drink at times now, I drink infinitely less than I did in the past. I didn't drink frequently, really, or maybe, I don't know. I certainly drink more frequently than now. But the thing that got me away from drinking alcohol, if that's something that you're inclined to do, or at the very least, just be really deliberate about when you do it. That's how I handle it. It's special, it's celebratory, it's not how I recreate, it's not how I unwind, it's not how I connect with other people. It's for like special occasions. And so however you would like to be doing alcohol best, there's a really great app called Reframe, and basically it's for people that either want to drink less or to not drink at all. And what's really awesome about it is that it is an outlet that will just educate you about the impact of alcohol in every sense. So how it affects our relationships, how it affects our health, how it affects our brain in a huge way. And I'll just say, this is like the last, kind of disparaging thing for the most part, I'll say about alcohol, is that the thing that got me away from drinking more frequently was that I recognized, because it speeds up aging. We'll talk about that. That's like my mission, to help to prevent. But basically alcohol, the reason why so many of us love it is because it feels good. And essentially when you drink alcohol, you have this huge dopamine spike. Hi, Corey. Hi, my dear. And the deal is with it is if you drink with any sort of regularity, your dopamine bar stays high. And what that means is it's hard to reach it in kind of everyday life. So things that are pleasurable for any number of reasons, flowers, the smell of the ocean, the fact that your partner made like a particular dish that you love. It's just hard to hit that level of dopamine that alcohol gives us. So one thing that really made me step away from it was that I did not want to have less joy in my life. I did not want to have to rely on alcohol to make me feel as joyful as I could. And the other thing I'll just say is that alcohol, in my opinion, it's fast fun, and then there's a cap on it. There's a ceiling. But if we are not drinking alcohol, it might take us a little longer to kind of get to this level, but then the sky is literally the limit. So I invite you to be high on life and to do shit that helps you to have that feeling because of you, not because of a substance. Okay? And so again, alcohol is party in a bottle. Like, that's why we drink it. It can be so delicious, so fun. I think it's great at times. But when we make it a periodic thing in our life versus a habitual thing, we get to have all of it. We get to have the pleasure in the moment. We get to have the, fun time with these particular people, should we wish. And then we also get to have like everything else. And so that's my way of being that I'm committed to, and I invite anyone else to adopt this way of thinking. I think it's the best. Okay, so alcohol puts fat metabolism on hold until it is processed. Okay, so what we're trying to do here, so we're thinking about mostly, I'm always talking about weight loss. Health comes along for the ride. But what we want to do is we want to speed up. Basically, we're trying to lessen the impact of what we're drinking by how we're drinking it. We're going to talk about this by what we're choosing to drink, and then also, how we're supporting our body to get this garbage out of us faster. Okay? So, one thing I want to talk about as well is that I think for a lot of us, we have this like, penny pound thing. So it's like, well, if I'm drinking, then it's like, I throw my hands up in the air, like I hand everything over, right? Like my keys, my consciousness, like my free will, and I'm less discriminant and I'm just more excessive. And then I regret this shit, and then I feel bad about it, and then I like button my lip for however long, and I don't do certain things until I'm faced with temptation again. And so the thing that I want to introduce, hi Lori, hi my dear, is to create some structure around indulgence. And what that means is, what most of us do is, I'm not going to do this, or I'm just gonna like blow the doors off of what we're doing. If you have a little bit of structure around indulgence, around excess even, you will just not have the feeling of chaos and being out of control, okay? So, choosing to drink once a week, choosing to drink twice a week, and even if, I'm gonna say this, like, even if you're just deliberate, like I'm drinking on Saturday, I'm drinking on Thursday, I'm not drinking on Friday, it's good to have a day in between, I'll talk about that. I'm drinking on Saturday, like make it matter, like do it because you want to, not just because it's available. I think that's actually a highly important thing to differentiate between as well. I say this to my fat burners, like we don't just do shit because other people are doing it. Like that's like the crazy stuff, right? We're jumping off of a bridge. We're not doing that. We're doing stuff because we want to. And so I really invite you to do that with alcohol. Okay. So, when we do this, so when we are drinking alcohol, the things that we want to be considering is the fact that alcohol is basically drinkable calories, carbohydrates, and toxins, okay? So what's useful to consider is what has the least or the most calories, carbohydrates, and toxins. And so if there is something that you love, that it's like, I love Scotch on the rocks, I love Mai Tais, I love like Dark and Stormies, like whatever the heck it is, have that, but also factor in shit that's going to make less of an impact in the realm of calories, carbohydrates, and toxins, okay? So again, you can do whatever you want with this information or nothing, but if you're just a little better informed, then you can make better choices, helping you to get more of what you want. Okay. So best in order. So dry sparkling wine, champagne, cava, Prosecco tends to be a little bit sweeter, dry white wine, dry red wine, and clear, heavily distilled spirits. So wine, I will just say, can be a little more toxin forward. It tends to be less regulated. Someone talked to me about the fact that like organic wine potentially has less toxins in it. If you want to do any more research on this, that might be something to explore. If you're like, we drink wine every week, every night, maybe I will get something that's a little more, monitored regarding toxins. And then basically clear, heavily distilled spirits, vodka, gin, tequila, those will have basically less toxins in it, less carbohydrates, still like a moderate amount of calories for what you're getting. Okay? So, and obviously we're thinking about no calorie mixers. Dry sparkling wine, brut, whatever it is, cava, dry white, dry red, clear, heavily distilled spirits. Okay? Beer is the worst. Should you wish to be made re-aware of that, that's like tons of calories, loads of carbohydrates, generally a bunch of toxins. So again, if you like beer, like do this more strategically. So in general, it's like liquor before beer is better. Liquor before wine is better. So it's like, well, and we'll talk about how to drink in just a second. Typically we're drinking alcohol because it makes us feel good. So if the desire is to feel good, then let's do things that help us to amplify how it feels while still getting the taste that we desire. Okay? So beer is the worst for your waistline, at the very least here. And then also I'll just say like sugary drinks, but like espresso martinis, that sounds fun. They're fatty, they're sugary, like they're very like calorie rich. I think they're delicious. Doing it every day, no, but just again, pick your battles. And if you do enjoy alcohol with some consistency, then you just might want to think about like, okay, you know, so I have this drink and then I shift to something else. One thing that's so hilarious and wonderful, so many of you know, I think my first career was as a massage therapist. And so I had a client that I hadn't seen in some time who was a restaurant owner. And he was so much slimmer when I saw him at this particular time. And I just said, oh my God, like you've lost so much weight. What have you been doing? And he said he switched from drinking beer to drinking wine. And so it's like, that's nuts. But the caloric and the carbohydrate difference is pretty staggering. Okay? All right. So how to drink. So I'm going to invite you to drink your beverages, your alcoholic beverages, like you are tasting wine. And so essentially those like 5 S's, right? It's like sight, sniff, swirl, sip, suck, swallow. What we want to do is we want to create kind of a bigger experience with our senses, with our drink. And what that will do is that will give us more from what we are dealing with, enjoying. Okay? So, and the biggest one with this is, so when you taste wine, if you're familiar with this, it's like we sip it. So maybe like we're smelling this or enjoying this, but we're sipping this and we're making a point to suck air through it. So that, and you can do this quietly. You can do this like nobody needs to know. You can leave this in your mouth a little longer, and you can even leave it under your tongue. And so the leaving it in your mouth for longer and the leaving it underneath your tongue, what that does is basically it exposes it to more epithelial tissue, which is the tissue inside of your mouth, which is quite porous. And so essentially it gets it into your bloodstream faster. The sucking air does the same thing. It's like it kind of gets it to your brain quicker. And so I say this, what this does is it will make you feel the impact of alcohol faster. And so if we are drinking to feel something, what's really awesome about this tactic is you can literally drink less and feel more. So this is really convenient if you're at like a party or a bar and there's like a huge freaking line to like get a drink, or you know it's going to be a while, or someone's taking a while to get you a drink or whatever. This is me at least. So then it's like, well, I'm just going to stretch the shit out of this drink I'm going to stretch it out and I'm going to feel it faster at the same time. So Most of us are not drinking because it's like, you know, this is a pretty color. Typically we want to feel something, and that's a really effective way to do it. What's also freaking awesome about this is that not only will you feel the impact of alcohol faster with less, so typically, again, however I sound, if we want to feel what we're drinking faster, generally, what does that require? It means that we drink something faster. And what's terrible about that situation is that then there's like this lag in impact. The alcohol catches up with us. And so whether that's just like, whoa, you know, like I drank that a little too fast, or, you know, now I just don't feel as great. Not amazing. But if we do this like sucking, holding this in our mouth, aerating it, to make us amp up the sensation in our body and in our brain, we can feel it faster and consume less. And so the opposite is also true, which is that we can feel less faster. So when we kind of take our foot off gas, our like light touch foot on the gas, when we take it off, we feel a lot more sober, honestly, quicker. And so obviously alcohol makes an impact. It's like because you drank slowly doesn't mean you didn't drink at all. But I think that's kind of a freeing thing too. So it's like when you want to get off the ride, it's actually a little bit easier to do because you've just been stretching this out and kind of like magnifying the sensation of alcohol, like kind of in an inaccurate way. It's like you're not even just tracking with your consumption. It's like you're kind of ahead of it versus behind it. Okay? And I can, if I'm like, maybe I'll attach a video, or let me know if you'd like to see a video of that specifically, how to drink better, and like literally like the technique. It's not complicated at all, but it might be nice to have it reinforced. Let me know if you would like that. So then, in addition to what and how, having some supplemental support can be really useful. So number one, and this is not new news, but I think it's really good to reinforce, water is so helpful around alcohol. So essentially that adage of like drinking a glass of water with every alcoholic beverage is really useful. Essentially, we need water for the detoxification process. To get alcohol out of our system, we need some sort of detoxification going on. Alcohol is poison. It burdens our liver. We'll talk about this. So we're going to talk about what to do to help our body in a multitude of ways. But water is a really smart thing. And so whether that's just like, yep, now I just have this habit, you know, I drink a bunch of water when I'm drinking alcohol. I make sure I have a glass with every drink I'm drinking. I'm always sipping water along with my drink. Do it. It will just help this process. It'll help you to feel kind of more even and better as well while you're drinking. What was I going to say? So before you drink, this is like tactics up the wazoo. Taking vitamin C is really useful. So another thing that got me away from drinking alcohol was that it speeds up aging. And so it's like, thank you, no. But vitamin C actually blocks the metabolite aldehyde that alcohol creates, that speeds up aging. So vitamin C helps to lessen the impact of the aging ramp up that alcohol can cause. Additionally, actually maybe we'll talk about this later. So another amazing supplement, again, happy to share a link for this, is activated charcoal. And so this is great to take either alongside your drink, which is a little crazy, which I've done in the past, to be like popping pills at a bar. So maybe you don't want to do that, but maybe you do want to do that deliberately when you are done and in for the night. So essentially taking one capsule per drink, or just like a decent sized handful at the end of the night, again with a bunch of water. So activated charcoal essentially binds to toxins and helps them get out of the body faster. So it just speeds up this process of getting this junk out of your body faster. And I'll talk about fat metabolism in the liver in just a moment. And then I would say also later that night, it's really great to take electrolytes. Alcohol is so depleting. It depletes us mineral-wise, it depletes us water-wise because of that detoxification requirement. And so electrolytes can be something that can just kind of help your system feel a bit more balanced. I highly recommend taking them before you go to bed. That'll help you to feel better in the morning. And again, it's like maybe you had a glass of wine. But I will say this too, as a woman over 40, I feel like what I hear a lot from women over 40 is how shitty they feel from drinking so little. So whether that's 1 glass of wine, 2 glasses of wine, like max even, and talking about just feeling like garbage the next day, like that their buzz was nothing in comparison to like how they felt the next day. Like it wasn't worth it. Not that this might make it worth it, but it would, it could potentially help you. So having electrolytes then that night after you consume alcohol and the next day for sure is something that's just going to get you kind of back stable, upright, feeling better, faster. Okay. Additionally, depending on how much you've had, how much it impacted you, something that sucks about alcohol as far as I'm concerned is that it tends to jack up my hunger later at night or make me feel hungrier the next day. And so again, electrolytes can help with that, which is great. Additionally, I'll just say the body typically, like again, depending on how much fun you've had, can call for both more protein and more carbohydrates. So the thing that I just want to say about that is that like there's an expression, being forewarned is forearmed, something like that. So if you know that the body is going to want that, then it's like, let's not be surprised when it does, or perhaps we can give ourselves versions of more protein and more carbohydrates in ways that are satisfying and more supportive. So whether that's like leaner protein, higher fiber carbohydrates, however that looks. And also I'll say that if you know your body is going to be craving that, but it's because of alcohol, sometimes that can be a little, a good kind of reorientation, meaning that like, you know, sometimes again, you do whatever the heck you need to do whatever feels best to you. But sometimes it's like, well, you know, it can be easier to like ride out some cravings when you know that it's like, this is just based on like all the booze that I had last night and I'm kind of okay, or I'm going to go to bed early tonight, or I'm like drinking a bunch of electrolytes and water and I actually do feel better because like my body is chemically off, like off mineral wise, versus like I'm just hungry. It's like I ate plenty of food last night. This is because of alcohol. So sometimes that can just be a useful perspective shift to help us to make like continued supportive decisions towards the place that we want to go. All right. And then I think the last thing I just want to say is, alcohol, the reason why this is detrimental for our waistline is not only because of the calories and the carbohydrates, but because it puts fat metabolism on hold. And it does that because alcohol is a poison. So meaning that like we could die if it doesn't get out of our system. So our body prioritizes dealing with that first, and then it gets back, the liver, then the liver gets back to all of its non-life-threatening processes, one of which is metabolizing your body fat. So it can just be helpful to like have the liver in better standing, to have detoxification supported daily, which is how it is done. Detoxification is a constant process. It's not a like just today, every day, all day. So this is something, I'll just say, we do this in Fat Burning Pro. So we support the liver because of fat metabolism. We support the liver because of detoxification. But it's just awesome for fat burners to have more bandwidth in their liver, meaning that alcohol gets processed faster, which is great. And I'll just say also, one thing that's also great, so alcohol, however you want to do it. So these are some tactics that make it easier, better. So I'll just run through these again. So basically, recognizing its benefits and its downfalls, choosing what you're going to drink that has less calories, less carbohydrates, less toxins, putting that in the mix of what you might have. It's like, oh, I actually love like brut champagne. Sure, I'll have that, like, you know, over what? Something else. How to drink that, like sipping, sucking, swirling, leaving it in your mouth. You'll feel it faster. It'll actually go away faster too. Drinking tons of water, potentially having vitamin C at the beginning of your night, potentially having activated charcoal at the end of your night, definitely having electrolytes, having them the next day as well, recognizing that you might be a little hungrier for carbohydrates and protein, making better choices within that, or potentially giving yourself some perspective that that's why. And then having a little structure around when you have it. So it's not this all or nothing thing. And this is something, so fat burners, again, I'm super clear that this is not a great move. Like, there is nothing good for the body about alcohol. It just feels fun if we want to have it, if it does feel fun to us. And so, but what's really useful is that fat burners, I ask them to have alcohol at their carb feasts. So once a week or less, that's my request, with a carb feast. And what that does is that gives some structure and indulgence. It's like there's some guardrails on this, which I think is really useful. And then we support our liver more fully, which enables us to get this garbage out of our system faster, help us to feel better the next day, and to not put fat metabolism on hold for as long, which is really useful. Okay? So if you are a woman over 40 who would like to lose 8 to 15 pounds in a month and to understand how to do shit better, to have a body that is better supported so that she can get away with more stuff, so that she can color outside of the lines at times, so that she knows kind of the best way to do something that maybe isn't ideal, but that could be done in a way that creates less of an impact. Fat Burning Pro would be a really great move. The thing I love about it, in addition to like fucking everything, is that you don't need to be virtuous. Like, you don't need to be perfect to lose weight. Like, you don't need to be strict. You don't need to never do certain things, only do other things. Anything, everything, that is my vow. Everything should be on the table at some point if you want it, and that includes alcohol. Whether you're far from your weight loss goal or there already. Again, alcohol does not help the issue, but we can make it work. And I think that's fantastic. That's a lot of freedom, flexibility, forgiveness instilled in a lifestyle for life. So if that's something that's of interest to you, I'm going to leave our sugar quiz underneath this video. But the thing that's so great about it is that when we support the body in bigger ways that help with weight loss, but by supporting how we work, we get to have our cake and eat it too in so many ways. And with alcohol is like one of them. Again, I aim to drink as little as possible, but I still do drink. That's me nowadays. That's probably been for like the last 3 years, something like that, maybe a little longer. Anyway, so that is it. Okay, I'm going to attach the sugar quiz should you wish to check that out to see what fuel you're burning. If you are someone that's just been struggling with your weight, and even your health, and feeling like, I'd like for things to change, one-stop shopping might be the way to go. And that's what fat burning is. All right. So I hope this was great. Please check out our sugar quiz. I'm going to put how to drink better, the video below the video. And I'm also going to put links for a vitamin C booster and an activated charcoal that could be really useful, as well as some electrolytes. All right. So I hope this was great. Be in touch for any reason. Thank you for being here tonight. I hope you're having a great holiday season. Love to you, and until next time.